Citizenship by Khushi, Sophia, Deeya, and Megan.
The goal of having foreigners becoming citizens is to have the perfect amount of people who are the most beneficial to the country. The qualities of a good citizenship program are simplicity, a quick and fair process, making sure that the people coming are good people and are contributing, and that the country as a whole benefits. It is important that it is simple to make sure that people understand the requirements. If they do not understand it, then they may not have realized that they accidentally did not follow one of the rules, making the process even longer, and they might not get citizenship at all. This would not be good because then less people would want to come into the country. If less people come into the country, then there would not be enough workers, or there won't be as many people contributing to the country. It is good to have a quick process for essentially the same reason. More people would want to and would be willing to come into the country, so there would be more people contributing. A fair process is important because instead of people who may not be as beneficial, only the people who are the best to come in would do so. In other words, if some people were given an easier way to come into the country than someone else, then the person who could easily come in would come into the country, but they may not be the best fit for that country. However, someone going through the full process would see this and would be discouraged from coming. Then there would not be as many people hoping to come in. Also, the majority of countries make sure that the people coming in have no criminal record and would not hurt the overall well-being of the country. Of course, this is necessary to make sure that the people currently in the country are safe and that no one who would like to cause harm could become citizens.
The most equitable citizenship system out of the 5 countries that were researched was Singapore. The best systems are the ones that make it relatively simple to apply for citizenship, but still has a good amount of security in ensuring the country's stability. The process to gain citizenship in Singapore is relatively quick and simple. Singapore's citizenship system is very strong because the requirements are few and the ones that are in place are necessary. The application process in Singapore only takes 6 to 12 months, which is a lot less time than most other countries that were in question. This is a good thing because most of the people who would want to come to Singapore are helping the country. People can apply for a PR, permanent residency, after only 6 months, and it is possible to qualify to apply for citizenship after 2 years of PR. 2 years is a good amount of time because at that point the person has proved that they are loyal to the country instead of being there for longer. Another one of the basic requirements is that a person applying for citizenship must be at least 21 years old. But if a person has not met that requirement, there are other ways for them to apply and gain citizenship. People applying for citizenship also already have a Sing Pass or have to get a Sing Pass. This makes it easier for the government to keep track of citizens and those who are applying for citizenship. This is a good thing for the country because then they are able to make sure that everyone is safe and they can make sure that nobody is a threat to the country. After Singapore, the next most equitable country is Sweden. Some of Sweden's best qualities are shared with Singapore, including having no criminal record and showing loyalty. A few other reasons why Sweden has a good citizenship system is because it makes sure that any person that comes in knows Swedish, which helps foreigners navigate and blend into the country. The reason why Singapore was placed higher than Sweden was because the permanent residency requirement is much longer in Sweden, making the process to gain citizenship much longer. So, not as many people who would want to go to Sweden, and not as many people would be contributing to the country.
To acquire a German citizenship if coming from abroad and not being born of German parents, an applicant must fulfill a list of requirements before becoming eligible. Some of the strengths of the system are requiring applicants to have no criminal record and being required to pass a German language test and a citizenship test. Requiring all who wish to become citizens to have no criminal record is good for Germany because it stops criminals from coming into the country and potentially making it unsafe. Having to pass a language test ensures that all citizens know enough German to navigate the country and successfully, and the citizenship test provides those who wish to become German citizens with all of the laws and German culture they will need to incorporate themselves into German society. The weaknesses of the system are the permanent residency requirement of 8 years and the requirement that all new citizens renounce any foreign citizenship they previously possess. The 8-year residency requirement before applying for citizenship means that in the first 8 years of living in Germany, a person cannot vote or have the same inalienable rights that are given to German citizens. That would be unfair to anyone who is wanting to come into the country because they are not given a say in a country that they have lived in for 8 years. Germany also does not allow dual citizenship. Not allowing dual citizenship could prove difficult for someone who may have family in their country of origin. The reason why Singapore is seen as a better system is because people can become citizens a lot quicker. Their system is more fair because people do not have to wait as long to be allowed to vote.
After Germany is Turkey. Turkey has a fairly good citizenship process, however there are many downfalls. The strengths of it are that the people coming in will not be a harm to others in any way. This includes criminal record, loyalty to Turkey, and not have a disease or mental health problem that could potentially harm others. It also makes sure that they contribute to Turkey. Therefore, everyone in Turkey is benefiting. Also, it makes sure that everybody can provide for themselves, so few people in Turkey will have to rely on the government for help. Turkey also allows dual citizenship. However, Singapore's process is better because it is more fair. Turkey's process can be unfair for many people. It denies people from coming into the country because of something they cannot control, such as their age, because only adults can apply, or if they are in good health. They can also get in a lot easier if they are married, which can cause problems. Lastly, people who have more money can get into the country easier because they can provide for themselves through the money they already had.
There are quite a few requirements to gain citizenship in Japan. These requirements are all derived from the Japan's nationality law. An alien, not a Japanese national, can receive citizenship through naturalization and approval from the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice can't give approval unless the alien follows the criteria. The alien has to be living in Japan for at least 5 consecutive years, be over the age of 20, and have the full capacity of the law, have good conduct, are financially stable, and has not joined or been a part of a political party that has tried to overthrow the Japanese constitution or government. Japan does not allow dual citizenship. If you are a citizen from another country and also want to be a citizen of Japan, the citizenship from another country will have to be revoked. However, if the alien has a spouse that is a Japanese national, they get an advantage. If the spouse of a Japanese national does not follow the requirements, they can still be permitted. The couple has to domicile in Japan for at least a year and a half or live there for 3 years and are currently living there. The Minister of Justice is allowed to modify the requirements and based on the circumstances. Singapore is better than Japan because Japan's residency requirements are much longer than Singapore's requirements. Also, it is not fair because people can easily get into Japan through marriage.
Global citizenship is the idea that all people are part of the world as a whole, sharing the responsibilities that come with being a global citizen. It basically says that everyone is part of the world rather than a nation or a place. A global citizen also has the responsibility to care for everyone around the world and try to understand multiple cultures.
Global citizenship would make it much easier for people to travel and live wherever they wanted. Everyone would have the same rights and benefits and would not have to go through so many requirements to live in a different place. Every person is also contributing to a single system which helps everybody. All people would feel a sense of connection through the imagined community of global citizenship. People would be able to work together for a common goal, and all current countries' resources can be used in a single effort for different issues around the world. People would also not feel as divided because there would not be borders or countries to separate them. It could help with racism and other issues.
However, there are a lot of problems with having global citizenship. Countries are made up of people in them. Without specific citizens that belong to a country, there will no longer be countries. It would instead create a single nation with the world. With over 7 billion people in the world, it would be hard to regulate every person and hold them to the same standards. There would be not enough security in the world, and people could go wherever they want, which could be a problem because there would not be enough regulation to make sure that everybody is safe. People wish to do harm in a certain area in the world would easily be able to do so because they can get in any place without problem. Not only that, but it would be impossible to incorporate every culture in every country. People would simply not feel as connected to everyone else and would not feel as they're of a part of something. Another big problem that arises is that the government will not work. There would be too many ideas and different views about how the government should look like, and nobody would be able to decide. there would be a high chance that people would create wars and fight over the same kind of power, which would be too much power for a few people to have. That single government would also be the weight of so many different problems in the world, and there would not be able to do everything that each individual government can do. It would be even harder to please everyone with legislature and ruling party than it is in smaller nations with individual governments.
The concept of global citizenship is too idealistic. Although the idea of global citizenship may resolve many national citizenship problems, it creates a lot more tension and complications. It would be a problem because of little regulation and problems with the government. First of all, it makes it harder to provide for all the people in the world. It is easier to divide up the power in governments to create and enforce the rules for the citizens in a particular place. It would be a lot harder to enforce the rules with so many people under the same power.
In conclusion, Singapore has the most equitable way to acquire citizenship of the 5 countries that were researched. The requirements to gain citizenship are much shorter while still ensuring the country's safety and security. It is a more fair system and its pros outweigh the cons. Global citizenship is also too idealistic to be implemented in the real world. There would be too many complications and put the world in even more chaos than it is now.
Here are our citations.